line.
Would that be something that
Whatever email you gave me, I told you.
If there was an error, I could just actually
Okay.
So I said,
I'll make sure.
I may have told you.
No, I think you took me copies of that.
We got to take over the show now.
You want your stuff in this hole, but they don't send those days after.
Gotcha.
I'll get your info. Yeah, I'll send her. I was in your neck of the woods Saturday. I was at the Sullivan Elks.
Oh, yeah?
That was Fox birthday. Can for the 21.
I get that. Yeah, we don't have new business cards, so we just Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, we're not looking for whole stories and stuff, but we want to shine a spotlight on the scores and stuff. If you want to send stats, photos, anything that you have time, we'd love to run it.
I need Miss Harris to give her pictures of the a little faster.
Man, I tell you what, you keep Brian Harris from flooding our basement with a toilet. That would be oh yeah.
On that note, we'll call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I see Mrs. McKillop is here, so we will invite her to share what's happening at Northeast Shore.
Well, it's been very busy the last 4 days of school. Super excited to get everybody back. The building seems so quiet without them and lonely without them, and then it just comes alive. So it's always a good time to get the kids back in, and they're settling in great. And so it's been a great 4 days. We started actually back on July 31st with all the staff coming in, and we did all of our safety reviews and where to shut the water and the gas lines and all that good stuff. So everybody was there. We had a nice luncheon, and then that evening, all of our kindergarten parents came in, and that was a busy night. We had, I think, 46 parents there, 46 families there, so it was busy. Lots of kids moving around, and we attempted to do our first arts and crafts with the parents, having them do it. It's kind of cute because some of them are spot on and some of them are just no direction whatsoever. It's just all fun and creative. So it's kind of fun having those already posted up and in the building. So that was kind of a fun thing with us. Let's see, what else did we do? We've got all the Harmony accounts kind of up and running with our kindergarten families. That was a good thing. We don't always get them started. Their first catch up after a few years. So hopefully we've kind of got them lined up this year for the first time. So hopefully that works out to their benefit and ours as well. We had to meet the teacher night the night before school started. The reason we do that is because it helps me and all of the teachers know how they think communicate kids are getting home the next day, the first day of school. So that helps because then we say, hey, this is how we think your little baby's going home. And it helps because so many times they say, well, they're on bus 2, but they're going to daycare, and we didn't know that on a different bus. So it's great to have that first night under our belt. And we only had 2 mistakes this year. So I was really, really proud of that because we've had years where we've had lots. And one was because they changed their mind and they decided to have somebody else pick them up. And then one we put on the bus that we shouldn't have. But we were able to get them right off the bus. So really proud of my staff because that is one detail that they always pretty much get right that night from the teacher. So I think that's pretty amazing when you have 250 kids going in all these directions and only having 2 in Winston. So we're rocking and rolling with that. So pretty proud of that. So they take a lot of care in that detail because then we have to get it right. We have 62 kids that are car riding. There's 41 kids on Main Street. So they go all the way down Main Street, over by the post office, and across the railroad tracks. And that's another reason why we do it on the teacher night, because then we're able to give them their placard to hang in rear view mirror, and so we called out, and so we moved it pretty quick. And I was really impressed because my ladies that are taking care of that had every single car done at 3:04 on the first day of school. So that is a testament to my staff and how hard they work on making sure on the first day of school. That's them. That's us just kind of working as a team and making sure all this happens. And so we really knock it out of the park. So I'm pretty proud of them. And today we made it by 2:59. So there. So the system seems to be working. We did have our town marshal kind of with us the first 2 days of school, only because I was a little nervous about how that many cars. We've not had that many. With this influx from Vigo County, like several families are choosing to drive to us. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing to have. It's a problem to have, and we're making it happen. All of K1s and 2s and 3s have started secret stories this last week, and we're also rocking and rolling on K-34 Name Awareness. I was in the classroom today, and it was so fun to just kind of see, hey, I remember that from last year. And then I was able to sit in on a first grade class in the library on Friday, and we were able to do some auditorium name awareness things. And all the years I've been doing this as a teacher, as an educator. So that's quite a bit. It's been fun kind of watching them, and they've been amazing. They're able to hear. We were working on the word ox. So to be in front of them, what do you have? You take off the B, put it S, what do you have? And they were rocking it out of the park. And these are first graders already. So the things that we have in place are starting to work. And those are simple things that we won't have to do now because they already did that part. So we know what we need to be doing. So pretty proud of that. This year we always do like a theme for the school. So we chose to do fine arts, and I'll tell you why. I get really sad we don't have art as we should. The music, that kind of bothers me. Encore, but it's not as prevalent because we're not using certified teachers in those positions for that position. So they do a good job. But we need a little more support there. So we spent some time together this summer. I did with my Encore ladies, and we're developing the units based on our CK series. And so we've designed lessons to go with the units for art, PE, and then some drama type things. So script writing with Magic School AI and those types of things. So our library's doing some puppets with that first grade this week because their first unit is fairy tales. So it's been kind of fun to watch the kids do Little Red Riding Hood and Three Little Pigs behind our little puppet stages. So bringing that type of thing back gets the kids kind of excited. Are really excited. They conned our SRO, Officer Vaughn, into being Paul Bunyan in a couple of weeks. So he's going to come in riding on a blow-up bull, so that'll be interesting. They're going to do a lumberjack breakfast. We've got a song about Pecos Bill, and so they're learning about that this week. So that's really hits on Thursday and Friday of this week. So it'll be fun to have Daddy Hopkins is working on little songs with the kids. So getting that music kind of back into where we want it to be. On getting donations for batteries. I need 120 AA batteries because we cannot find all the power cords for our keyboards. So that's my job this week. The power cords aren't there, but we can do them with batteries. So that's the next piece. That we want them to kind of get used to using some of our instruments that we do have in the building. There's no reason for them to sit there and collect stuff. So fourth grade will be doing I forgot to tell this part. Once we get the units completed, these will become CKLA Family Days, and so the kids will be showcasing their songs, their dances, their plays, and things like that throughout the school year. So every grade level has a family. The lumberjack is the first one in second grade, so it'll be interesting to kind of we plan on doing it on Tuesday because we're not using our gym on Tuesday. So it's kind of a get it. So that's fun. Fourth grade, they are going to be doing a pirate day when they complete their Treasure Island. They read Treasure Island in the spring. poetry readings because they love the poetry unit. We may do some immigration type things. One of their stories is about a family that isn't as a migratory family. So that really kind of hits home because they know they hear it on the news. So I love that it's kind of combining the history of what's happening right now. We'll be doing the Titanic unit, which is the end of the year. Last year, they wrote a play using Magic School AI with the voices of the survivors of Titanic, and then they performed that as their last final thing for 6th grade farewell. So amazing things. I love that they're trying to use the technology and get the kids back into the fine arts because we miss some of those kids that are musically talented and we're not always tapping into that. So glad to see that we're going back in. That's what I love as a kid. So hopefully it'll make happy kids, happy teachers, happy kids. So I think that. Oh, our first graders, I forgot. First grade, their favorite one is the human body. Last year they went home and I had a lot of parents call me because they were all going, hey, I like your gluteus maximus. And so that's been a fun thing that there's a vocabulary and understanding that there are systems of the body. So that's a great thing. Also, we're going to do a toga fashion show for the ancient Roman Empire. That'll be coming up in January, so not a good season for togas, but that'll be fun. So we're looking at things implemented this school year. So that's why fine arts is our theme this year. Let's see. We did start NWA today. We're gathering all that information from our students, so we're rocking and rolling there. So by Friday, I should have a pretty good feel of all of our new students, and then all of the students will see how much summer loss we have or how many summer games. I hope we have a lot of games, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We use this also for our dyslexia screeners, so then we can kind of tag those kids that need extra support. So we'll be pulling those for intervention. So glad that we still have that. We'll also use this information to plan our Orton Gillingham and our Spire Reading Program intervention. So that's done K1, 2, some 3. So pretty solid there. We've been doing it enough now that it's just like old second hat nature. So not worried about NWA too much. We're still working on reviewing our learn checkpoints. I know we talked about that before. We really are probably going to focus on that a little better this year because the data comes out strong and heavy 6 times a year. And so that'll be the new norm, I'm sure, for iLearn. So we need to get a handle on how to manage all that information and then to do something with it. So I sent out workshops today that the state's going to be doing. So we're going to carve out some time where they can have each other kind of take over the class and to sit and do those webinars. So that's kind of the plan anyway. So creative scheduling to make PD happen, even though we have PD days, it doesn't always fall on those days when we need it for the State Department. So working on that. Still working with special ed. Power School is our new IEP system. Unfortunately, it didn't migrate too well within the state, so we're handling that pretty rigorously because we need to gather those IEPs. So that's something that the state is kind of having to help us with, and our cooperative is working with us to get all that stuff taken care of. So big things there for our IEP kiddos. I'm still in need of a primary special ed teacher if I can find one. We do have a lot of IEPs. A lot of IEPs. So we're excited to have Sarah Ann tomorrow. So she's going to be thrown to the wolves in the morning. So she'll be taking over our social emotional learning classes, starting with morning meetings and working with our Savers data, which is our social emotional behavioral screeners. Those we do next Friday, so we can kind of get a feel of who might need some extra support that we didn't know about. So kind of working with that. So we're really kind of hot and heavy and getting back into the swing of things and making it happen. We did purchase exemplars, which I'm really excited about. What it does is it sets up like iLearn questions for math and science. Kind of gives it real-world problem-solving tasks, and of course it gives the exemplar. So here's what it should look like, how you should answer it. Here's different different ways that you can answer it. But this time, we're trying to link it with jobs. So the first one that we're going to do is egg farms. And it's all about packaging egg cartons and then having to ship it so that it's in the right amount of containers, on a truck, the right way, getting there in a fast enough time. So all of this is math related. You have to understand the concept of the carton and the timing of the trucks, and so it's going to take it to a whole nother level. That you don't have to have a college degree to be a shipping container job to ship these eggs across the United States. You don't have to have a college degree to be a chicken farmer. But if you want to be an ornithologist, which is a chicken biologist or a bird biologist, you're going to have a college degree. So we're trying to make these math and science tasks and life skills projects, or not really life skills, but real world problem solving, link it to a career. Because what we see every year, and I'm sure it's all across the United States, is that when they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a teacher, a police officer, things that are common, they don't really understand what's out there in the real world. So we're hoping that by taking some of these tasks from this exemplars, that we'll be able to say, well, do you remember that we talked about the chicken farmer, we talked about a shipping container, we talked about this, those are other jobs that you're going to do. So we'll be building up like lists of things. So hopefully by the end of the school year, we'll have hundreds of jobs that maybe it'll spark their interest in something else. So real excited that we purchased exemplars, and we did that through Title I. I've been wanting to do it for years, and so when they said we got a little extra money, I'm like, ooh, I know what I want. So that's part of our STEM day on Friday, so kind of anxious to get that one started. So it's been a good start to the school year. We did some coding and STEM last Friday, and you even heard of pin drop. So they were doing a coding project, 6th grade for 5th grade, 5th grade for 4th grade, and so then this week we get to see if their codes actually worked with the lower grades. So I'm anxious to see their finished project. So excited to be back. We've done a lot in 4 days, and I think it'll be a great fine arts and learning year. So any questions?
Well, all I can say is thank you so much.
It's going to be a great year.
And tell the teachers thank you.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing. Like I said, every detail last week was just spot on. So, real excited that I do have great staff. I need to add to it a little bit. So.
You do, it's like K through 6th grade?
Yes.
So, like, when you were speaking with different careers, I mean, I've been in, obviously, mostly just high schools.
Right.
But I actually have been to elementaries, mostly for fun,
Yeah.
where I'll bring 4 or 5 of my students, and they'll bring mannequin stands and mannequin heads.
I love it.
And the elementary kids just loved it. And again, it's not me pitching
Sure.
beauty school. It's just getting the minds thinking, and it was a lot of fun. So at any point, I'll give you my number.
I
If you
love
guys
that.
have a career day, I'll bring some of my
I
students.
love that. That's
And we could
amazing.
set something up.
In fact, it's kind of funny that you say that because we talked about putting all these kids along the main hallway, down the hallway, you know, like little,
Right.
and then putting curly Q hair and having them cut it, and then design their hair
Right.
and that kind of all those paper. But
Well, I can donate. I
That'd be
have plenty of
awesome.
mannequin heads I can donate. We have to fight over my dad's friend back in the day because they would just call me all the time because they want the mannequin heads. Once they're shaved, do you know why?
Bye.
Shooting practice.
Oh.
they would. So my dad's friends back in the day, they're like, "Chef, you got mannequin heads?" I'm like, "Well, I got some laying around probably." And I said, "What?" I'm like, "Think it was weird. What were they? You like?"
Oh, I just know that one of my students last year, and she's one of the most creative kids I've ever seen. She never wanted to go outside for recess, so we buy these canvas art things, and she would just paint in the office all the time, and I won't let her take them because they're special to me, you know, because I'll always remember her. And when I asked her what she wanted to be, and she said, you know, I think I'm going to be a tattoo artist. And I'm like, good for you. I hadn't thought about that. And so, you know, when we were shifting her to the high school, I'm like, listen, any chance that you could get this girl into an art class, we need to make it happen every single year. And so I was anxious when she came to see me on Meet the Teacher Night. She cried the Meet the Teacher night at North Central, but then came with her brothers and sisters, and she said, "But I have an art class," and I was like, "Thank God." So I think it's awesome that, you know, we're trying to bring those things back, because that's the part that makes learning fun. And maybe we'll spark one. Maybe we'll spark a bingo. Maybe we'll spark somebody to do the barber. And those are jobs that I can't do because I don't do well with kids. Honestly. That's just not me. Yeah. To have a better idea of what's out there. So, and their lives are going to be different than ours because of AI. I can't even imagine what their careers are going to be, but let's spark some fun in what we're doing. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. I just a few quick questions. What's Encore?
Encore is like where you would do PE, art, music. That was when you were in school. They're called specials.
Oh,
It's just an
okay.
encore type of class, extra class. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then I don't know. I just wanted to. Are there no Encore classes for music or art at your school?
There is.
There is.
Yeah, they're just not a certified teacher teaching them. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, what's the difference? Sorry, I'm a layman. So, certified, that means that they didn't get.
They don't have that degree. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So don't they do something different like every day?
Yes.
It's not like a set class.
Right.
Right.
So like they'll go to PE one day, then they'll go to art the next day, then they'll go to music the next day.
So it's not really a
social
class per se. It doesn't have a set curriculum.
Right.
The blanket statement for a series of activities, and we call it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that answers my question.
Yeah.
Second question. Sorry, you got. So I just wanted to make sure I got everything straight. And then band program. I'm like, Richard Cap. Okay, let's just make sure. Felt like reality was crumbling under me. Oh yeah, the NWA testing. You meant NWEA, right?
NWEA.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
And then, is there a way to publicly look at those test scores? Are those released by the state already, or?
NWA is more internal. I-learn scores you get publicly, but
That's I-learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
NWA is just for internal data to drive what we're doing.
So I know Duggar does that as well.
Yeah.
So is that like a paid service?
Yeah, I mean, you have to use a formative assessment, so that's just a formative assessment we use along with I-learn checkpoints.
So you think you do internal assessments, or is that?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, we have to have a formative assessment.
Okay, and you guys have just chosen NWA.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, but the I-learn scores are published.
Those are the
Those are
published,
external.
yeah, basically.
And then.
And we send them on to parents. Typically, parents know how their kid did on NWA,
Right.
I-learn checkpoints, and so on and so forth, but this just got to the public, so.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
It kind of guides us, so it'll say like math, and it'll say your student might struggle with number sense, and then it'll say you need to zero in on place value to the thousandth place, or you need to zero in on algebraic equations, or you need to zero in on decimals, that type of thing. It really zeroes in on what we need to focus on with the student.
From a teacher's perspective, you can kind of add additional help in areas that kids certainly are struggling in, given that data. So basically, the whole corporation uses it. I know you, but in our classrooms, we can use it as well, just to kind of get, I'm a computer science teacher, so it kind of encompasses everything. So using NWA is very, very important for what we do. So
Helps guide the ship, I mean, yeah.
Right, it gives you a bearing, gives you something.
Yeah.
Gives us the data per student, basically, so it helps us individualize things.
I didn't mean to, but thank you.
No, ask away.
All right, well, we do several things on the consent calendar, the minutes of the July meeting, the approval of claims, the financial report, leave request, professional development requests. Are there any items that should not be on the consent calendar for the board? Are we good with all those? And entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Mr. President, move that we approve this consent calendar.
I'll second.
Okay. Kara? Okay. Motion by Jerry, second by Kara to calendar. All in favor? carried. Okay. Public comments and concerns. This is a chance where anybody who has some information for us may do so.
Okay, so as coaches, boosters, volunteers, even teachers, parents, and fans, I know we flirted around with it in the past years or so, making a move in a conference from the SWIAC to the WRC. I have a lot of time in the WRC, Rockville, Cedar, and Park Heritage for a year. We got a petition kind of going to get us show our interest in joining that conference. There's 200 and some odd signatures on this petition, so you guys can have those. I'm going to steal them, so I have numbers. One thing that kind of changes between football and basketball. We have 3 other schools in our conference that are much bigger than us and at this point growing. Makes it a lot more difficult for us to compete and have that advantage. I think the other 2 schools are going to be 2A here in the next round or the round after, especially because of the couple teams coming in. Trying to get back in 11-man football, I'm not sure though, which will push another team up. And then there's other schools around the state that are not officially in the IHSA yet, such as the private school in Lafayette, Christian that's jumping in. So those other schools are going to be bumping up into the 2A class here soon. The WRC matches up with us very well when it comes to numbers. If you look at the numbers with Cedar being at 386, South Miami being the outlier, they're at home. If we show our interest, what we believe is going to happen is that everyone's going to push South Miami outside of the WRC, and they realistically need to be in the WIC or something like that, where they're not playing teams with 160 plus students in their school. I know that from a travel perspective, it's going to help us. Driving to North Davies is absolutely 40-some minutes. 90-degree turns to the cornfields is atrocious on bus. If we're traveling to any of these schools, you're going straight down 41 to 63 or 41 to Rockville or 41 to River Park and maybe Cotton Central. Like I said, I spent a lot of time there. I'm from Rockville, Indiana. I think this would be a great move for football for our youth league. Currently, we made a decision to not be in our conference, which was the SWIAC, but we were traveling to Bedford, which is how far is that? It's 2.5. Yeah. So we're asking parents to travel 2.5 hours on a Saturday one way to go watch their kids play a youth league football game, where Bedford and probably not going to go very well for us since we've got only so many kids. We decided to pull out of that, and now we are kind of scheduling on the fly, and I know my wife will be able to tell you it's really, really rough with our schedule. 3 days in advance, you're like, oh, hey, you have a game on Wednesday. It's really, really tough on parents, and I believe it's affecting our program in a number of sense as it's difficult to get parents' work days off. I know that this whole conference change would not be for the immediate future. Obviously, the earliest would be next year. Realistically, it's probably 2 years down the road, but I'm not in that position to say when it would happen. This is kind of how things work in conference realignment. But don't get me wrong, I'm a competitor. I think I can get our football team competing in the current conference we are, but I do know that going to the WRC makes much more sense when it comes to transportation and just youth league. They have their own youth league there where we'll have 16 to play. We won't have to schedule and drive down to South Spencer like we did last year, which was atrocious. I know a couple of you might have made that trip with us, and it wasn't fun when we got there either. So, but I think we tried to travel to Edinburgh, which was 2 hours, I believe, last year. I think our closest conference game is 45 minutes, and that's more. It's going to be somewhat the same. We're going to drive I think it's 40 minutes to Riverton Park, maybe a little less depending on traffic through Terre Haute. North Vermilion's a little less than an hour. Rockville's a little less than an hour with Park Heritage. Cedar's not much farther north of Cedar and Covey are not much farther north than North Vermilion. Attica is on 41 past Fountain Central, which I think our longest trip will be about an hour and 20, give or take, depending on traffic in Terre Haute. So, those are just some things, and after kind of speaking with boosters and coaches and our volunteers and everything, I think it would be a great move for us to make. It would require our athletic director to write a letter before August 20th to a member of the WRC. I've spoken to a couple of them, my old head coach from high school, and I coached for him, the head coach of Pound Central. His opinion was, I don't know why they haven't done it forever ago. It makes more sense. We played Rockville, Cherokee Run, River and Park, Northman is currently on our schedule. We played all these teams throughout, and we generally end up in their sectional. I think once we end up in the southern sectional, spring side and stuff like that. But I think just from us, 1A school, not having football teams within that radius is just really tough for us to only have 3 conference games and have to reschedule 7 other games. It's really tough on our athletic director. I don't want that to be the case anymore. So, any questions for me? I do have a lot of information about the conference and how it works, and there's differences between. I was kind of caught off guard when I saw a conference meeting. It was kind of like hey, get everybody you can on there. The WRC, the way you play throughout the season is how many kids you get to put up, and also how many kids that you get to put in. So, for instance, 9, and you can get 6 of those kids on the all-conference team unless you give one up. So that's another positive. Whenever I sat down with the other coaches, it was like, all right, let's drink some Mountain Dew and pizza and see what we can do. So I wasn't quite ready for that one. I think things are very, very well organized in the WRC, and it's a very strong tradition conference as well from the small school area. It's not because they have big numbers, it's because they have really, really good coaches and really, really good people surrounding those programs. I think it'd be really good for us. Hollywood, I know yours is a little different than mine because
I mean, with basketball, it's similar. I think that when I was approached from boosters and different coaches, and then Wheeler and I spoke, and I know North and South are leaving their conference, and Wesley is a good friend of mine. He and I were talking about it Saturday, and I said, when they got brought to me, when I started looking at the numbers, it does make sense. I mean, I think at first I was like, oh, well, hold on, I like the conference we're in because, it's competitive, which is what we want. And, when I look at basketball, like last year, for instance, we had one of the hardest Class A schedules. We were a top 5 schedule. I changed that on purpose. I wanted these hard games. I looked at our schedule last year. People thought I was crazy. We had Evansville Harrison that's got 3,000 students traveling to little old North Central. So well, when they called too, I remember him thinking, I said, well, we're North Central Farmersburg. And he knew that. And I said, okay, if you want to come. I said, we're not driving there, but if you want to go, it's not about like, oh, hey, we can't compete. I do think that, like in basketball, you have 20 games. I think just in general formula, it should be something similar. You have 5 games that honestly, just been here a long day, 5 games you hardly can't win. I mean, just you have to play everything, do everything perfect. Maybe you have a chance in the 4th quarter. All right? You need those games to get you prepared for sectional, 100% chance to win. You need 5 of those. You need 5 games, even on a bad day, just count-wise, you should be able to win. Like even if your best players are in foul trouble or you're just off shooting, just on pure talent, you should have some games that you're just going to be able to win, just to keep that motivation high and keep those kids motivated and positive. Then the other 10 games should be a toss-up. You know what I mean? They should be, hey, if you're playing D and X, Y, Z, you're doing everything, you have a good chance to win, and sometimes you're going to lose those games. So just the kind of games. That's kind of the formula that I use, and with this conference, that makes more sense, even for basketball, because like this year's really going to be difficult for our basketball program. In fact, we have 6 games that we had to change out. Again, we want to be competitive, but we want to make it with these kids that have an opportunity for some success. We played 15 games this summer. We won 2, and I can tell you this, I've never been more proud to be the North Central basketball coach I was this summer. And I'll be the first to tell you guys, last year was a complete mess. I was not happy with the product we put on the floor outside the basketball. We had too many technicals. And when I say that, not with this school, I absolutely love this school, right? I will build this program where we need it to be. I think this conference is one of those steps that will help that. I haven't seen you guys since, last year. We will have no technicals this year. My kids are going to play with heart, and they will play together.
I want to go to a game, and I'm going to get a technical.
And I just like last year was just so different. It was just so many moving parts, and it was set up, not that it was necessarily set up to fail, it's just we had 9 transfers, and it's hard when you have kids that are 18 that are transferring as juniors and seniors, and it does create a disconnect with kids that are from here. And I do think one thing is these boys we have now are buying into what I'm selling. They are from here, and they want to win, and they care about each other. Because if they don't care about each other, it doesn't matter what the talent is. And you look at our talent, we had a 500 ball club, and we could have won more games, but I wanted harder schedules. We had 3, which is, I don't know if this is, I'm proud of this or embarrassed, but we had 3 kids on this team that got a chance to play in college, which at a Class A school, you should be going to semi-state or state finals. Ethan's at Illinois Central College, Tyson's at Oklahoma City in Evansville, and Trayshawn had the opportunity to play at Lakeland, but decided just to go to Indiana State to be a student. And I'm like, well, that's a great thing. That's how much talent we had, but we just did not perform, and it was not successful. So there'll be a lot of things that will be different internally. I do think that this conference move is a good thing for our school. I really do, and I think it's a good thing for our kids. The logistics make sense. They're smaller, and they're closer. A lot of them are closer. So that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, we get the schedule, we'll play it. It doesn't really matter, except we're still looking for 1 game. I did find 7 Oaks. We're playing them now. But difficult, because like I said, I don't want to have to do this every year. That puts more pressure on Jamie. We're like, hey, we need this game changed out, this game changed out, because we're playing freshmen and sophomores. If we have a conference where there's more teams and they're on that schedule, that's less work we have to do. And they're smaller schools. I mean, it's just, like, it seems to make sense. I don't see really a downside.
I want to kind of bounce off that. I mean, our meeting this winter, when I came to with that stat sheet, kind of our goals and whatnot, one of the biggest things was we need to quit relying on the transfer students. So like 6 or 7 kids that come from Sullivan this past off-season, Pillsball Farms, where kids come back from Sullivan at this point. So
Say that again. Can you repeat that? I want to hear that the first time.
but no, those are good things that you do enjoy. But football in general, but high school sports is it hits home really, really hard, and you want to be playing with those veterans that you grew up with, like you were playing with in kindergarten and stuff like that. I don't want to rely on the transfers. Sorry, and then one more point.
Well, and to your point, like, to this day, our best player last year was Ethan. You know, if you guys came to our games. And Ethan and I became close. He's from a single mom home. His mom and I became friendly. And I care about that kid. I drive him to Peoria where he ended up going to college. I helped him get his dorm, all these kids. But I'll be honest, it's a slap to my face in this school when he transferred back to South after the season. And that was disrespectful. I felt, and I was upset with him. I was upset with his mom. And the fact they didn't even call and tell me really bothered me. Because that's like, okay, I've used North Central, I got what I wanted, I got a scholarship, now I'm going to transfer back to South. And it pissed me off. We need internal kids that are from this area, Shelburne, Farmersburg, that care about this program and want to build it where it's bigger than just their stats or just them. It's about handing that torch to the next group. And that's what we'll have this year. And I have to remember that because I have to be patient and understand these are underclassmen that are going to be doing their best. But again, some people are just, it's going to be difficult, and that's okay.
The other point I was kind of going to make out, I think we've had 3 or 4 kids out, Irvington Prep. I can't remember who we played last year with it, but we've added Westview, Cloverdale, and Mitchell, and those 3 were basically scheduled out of necessity. It wasn't something that we were attempting to go do. There's just nothing else closer. Like, it was like, okay, thank goodness you have an opening. And like he said, we really don't want to put Jamie in that position to have to go through and find, or
we're still looking for that.
I'm looking through John Harrell's thing where it says who's got an opening or something like that.
We have games still not finalized yet.
The way the football season works out in the WRC is you got 2 non-conference games for the first 2 games. It's conference until sectional, and I don't think that would change. And if for whatever reason South Vermillion this day ends, what other coaches talk about is putting us in a half-and-half conference, more or less, where we're playing North Vermillion, River Park, Park Heritage, us, and then I think Bound Central will be like South side, and then the rest will be the northern side of the conference. But I From what I know from the insiders, I don't see North Sutton being in that conference. I think see and from their own well-being because they play one of the schools and then they go out and win to get their kids. So it's just a really tough balance there. Now, kids do enjoy football and soccer because they win 9-10 games a year because they're in a weak conference. But when they get to sectional, it's really, really rough on them. And they're obviously going through a big change right now with the head coach going to Terrell South and having another coach come in. So, yeah, just scheduling out of necessity is really tough on programs. I think we're going all the way down to Mitchell, which someone asked me where that was. I said, drive south, and if you get to Payole, you've gone too far. So that's kind of where we're at right now with the scheduling.
So what would you say is the problem to want to go to the WRC?
Personally, I know I obviously have some bias. I have some close ties there, but that conference makes more sense in my mind, given there's only 3 other schools in the conference that we're currently in. On top of that, those 3 other schools that we're playing against have, I believe, I don't know the numbers, 300 plus students, probably 350 plus students each. We're at 257, which I think might be a little generous at this point. I think those numbers are from 20. We're going to be able to have teams that are at our level and smaller than us, where we're actually competing at the same level numbers. For instance, a football program, for me right now, I'm hoping to get on a good year 10 kids per class, which gets me 40. At a school where there's 350, you're looking at 15 to 18 kids per class, which that's phenomenal. If I could find my goodness, that'd be great. I mean, I got the best person in the world or something. But that's where the difference kind of comes in football. And I think it does kind of go on a different way because there are more positions. There's more people on the field at the same time. Same thing with basketball.
No, I agree.
You find 5 good kids at a small school and they might make their own mistake. You never know how they, or maybe just one really good one might be able to take over a game in basketball. But yes. Definitely depth. You look at the sidelines at North Davies, they have probably pushing 60 kids because there are 150 more kids than us in the school. That would be one big thing.
As Coach Harold said, you like to have a tougher schedule. Well, it sounds like we're already in a tough schedule.
Well, but you have to have those games where you want to be able to compete as well. In the conference, we end up right in the middle of the numbers wise. So you got the Park area, Fairland Park, Southford, Cedar, South Vermillion, if there's still maybe Covington. Covington's a very up and down program when it comes to football. I'm not sure about basketball. But then you have the Atticas, North Vermillion, et cetera, where it's going to be tough for them to have long-term dominance. Coach Bryant, about 15, 20 years ago, had unheard of success at such a small school. And they're still dropping in numbers at this point. North Vermillion is kind of having a little trouble at this point. I do think that conference, when it comes to competitiveness and seeing those teams that are going to be tougher for you, they're going to come and punch us in the mouth every other year or something like that. That's going to happen. We're ready for that. We want that to happen because we want to fight back. But we also do want to make sure that we're playing conference games where we do have a shot to win. We were, and I know things happen in football. We just beat Eastern Green, and they're relatively larger than us too. I think they might be 100 plus kids larger than us as well. And those things do happen if you got the right kids do it or playing and mesh well together. But it does make it a little more difficult, especially to the next point where I think it's important. Scheduling, the roads we're going to be on is good or are better. There's kind of we don't have to worry about stopping and getting gas if we have to. Like there's gas stations between us and all the schools. But right now between all the schools that we go play against, there's cornfields. So those are the different things that I've kind of been brought to my attention by not only the people from here, but the people from the conference. I believe they would be willing and open to doing this, highly willing and open to doing this. So.
I have a question. So as your Title IX coordinator, I have to ask about equitable for women. as well? I mean, are they going to be able to be competitive in this conference as they are in SWIAC? Is it going to be about the same? We have to grow the women's program as well.
From a number standpoint, I don't think the argument really changes at all. I know that we've had some trouble, which I know we're working hard to get the softball and volleyball team back up and going, and I think we can. But I think you're going to run into the same exact things where you're going to have those games where you're going to play tough competition that'll get you ready for the sectional. And you're also going to have those games where, hey, that's a confidence booster. We don't really, as a football team this year, we had Irvington Prep last year. And thank goodness, because I had about 12 people hurt after the North Davies game. I did not know if I was going to be the first guy to lose to Irvington Prep. So those are just kind of one of those things where I think it'll work out the best. I think the scheduling is going to work out just as well also. I haven't really done a deep dive into it. I'm not going to lie to you, but
That concerns me, is dwindling in our ladies' sports.
So, for instance, you don't have a favorite Atticus in the conference, and they have understanding that those are going to be games where the girls are probably going to have those confidence boosting. But you need to win games that have kids feel good about the program. It's part of building the program. We were lucky enough to win 3 last year. I think that was a very positive experience for the kids. The feedback that I got from the parents, especially the senior parents who left, were all very positive about how their season went. I know that at the beginning of the year I asked them to write down what they wanted out of this year, and they just wanted to win a little bit. Get that changed, like we want to win it all. But it was a very positive experience just with the Irvington Prep and the Edinburgh, which is also on the bottom of the rankings list in the state of Indiana. So
Just play devil
Oh, no.
advocate because I worry about that's part of it too.
Boys and girls,
Yeah.
this Wabash River Conference just overall is just smaller, by population total. So, I mean, when you're looking at it from a talent standpoint, you've got boys and girls, just a simple numbers game. They're not going to be, as competitive as the conference we're in now. And just logistically, travel-wise, that's what got me the biggest thing. I'm like, oh, that's such an easier travel. And we talked about this a little bit. I know I spoke to Ms. Harrison, and I know Mr. Hitt and I talked about this last year. Like when me driving the bus, of course, football's basketball different because we take the yellow bus. But I'm like, I don't even know where some of these schools are. If we lose, I'm going to be frustrated. I can't be driving some bus. I'm frustrated. Mad at these kids.
what are the, if you don't mind, what are the worries about the change? I know the
I'm looking at, I've driven past Cedar, that is way up there. And I'm looking far away, Clay City's not that far away. I'm just thinking of travel time. And you don't have to drive through Terre Haute and rush hour to get to some of these games. And that's just my concern, is the distance.
Because I didn't look into that because I have nothing. I don't have those teams on my schedule. I have Eastern Trade.
Well, but I mean, and yes, they're all on 41, but that's going through Terre Haute, and so that adds the travel time, and that's just a long way up. That's just my concern, and if we're worried about, I think we're in a pretty competitive conference.
At the same time, we're having to schedule teams in Evansville. I'm South Spencer, which is, you know South Spencer, that? It's in Kentucky, basically.
Not
Yeah.
quite, but
It's on the river.
Honeyburg, yeah.
So Don, I just looked it up, the difference in travel, I looked up on my phone real quick. It looks like the difference in travel from Seeger to Mitchell, from what we do, is 4 miles. So it's really all about the same.
And what is the difference, South Spencer, that's way up there too.
Oh, gosh.
On top of that, those teams are not, and those are, West Vigo's a 1-year contract that's coming up this year, and I've already been told we're not getting that game back by the head coach. They can't. I think they're making a move to something, or they might have to put Vincent Lincoln's coming into the WIC, and they have to take that game on, so we won't be playing them. We're going to have to find another team that's closer to us, and that's a 3A school that we had to end up picking up. Mitchell's a 2A. They've been weak in football, so that's one of the reasons why we're able
But
to.
Mitchell's not in our conference anyway.
But we have,
So we're saying because our conference is smaller, if we move to WRC, we'll fill up our schedule with conference teams.
yes, so like, I can't schedule Terrell South. It would not go well and it would be dangerous, so. I can't schedule North Hughes, I can't schedule the teams that are in our area right now because they are so much bigger. Sullivan, to an extent, is it's a pretty big issue. I think they're near 450 kids, probably, something like that. I know they're about the same size as South Vermillion, so, all this, we can't do Duggar right now. We used to have them on our schedule year in, year out. They're 8-man, I still believe at this point in time. Yeah, it's just really, really tough scheduling teams that are competitive within our range, and it has to happen every 2 years because it's usually a home-and-home type of situation.
Well, you have a lot of school support. Mr. Azar is open to exploring it. I think James is open to exploring it. If it's what's best for kids, that's what we decide. I'm certainly open to it. I mean, I just want what's best for kids, so.
Yeah, so do we.
I think that's, just got to decide what that is, so. Yeah.
So is,
Jamie can write a letter before the 20th to explore the possibility of joining the WRC.
Basically give our interest to the WRC. I know that there's been talks with Riverton Park's athletic director, and he's relatively excited for the opportunity for that to happen. But yes, just someone, if we don't, someone else will, because that South Vermillion change will happen sooner rather than.
so do we need a formal motion? Do we?
I don't think so. I think it's something later. I think we can just, they're just wanting to present to see if we can do that.
They have,
August 20th.
yes, they have the WRC has a meeting coming up when they have to kind of give those.
I guess we could put it to a vote if you guys want to. It's not on the agenda, but we have to do business, but I don't know that it's, I mean, I can probably give them the green light if everybody's okay with it. It's just been there.
It doesn't really become official, just showing our interest, so there will be no contract or agreement to the WRC at this point in time.
So this would be for next year.
So we were, yeah, so we're
Best
not.
case scenario is next year,
Yeah,
probably
that's-
2 years out.
yeah.
Because I was thinking that's going to be a nice year for
Yeah.
James.
Our schedules are normally set almost a year or two in advance, so it would even be, maybe if they did, maybe get some games next year, but you're probably looking for a full-blown schedule 2 years out.
Yeah.
Best case, my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I'm open to it. I don't percent open to that.
As long as every team, you know what I mean? House that, you know what I mean?
And I know,
Okay, majority is spoken.
Do you have something?
and I know 3 years ago, we had to go clear to Park Tudor. That was, they couldn't take 70. It was gruesome for them, and late coming home, yeah.
So
I'm open to it.
sounds like
100%.
I'm having the green light.
All right, thank you so much.
You definitely send a letter to explore.
Okay, appreciate it,
Looks like the athletic director needs to get to run.
guys.
You're on contact for it.
I think you have.
I don't know that she's-
I think you have a personal line right now.
Well, thank you.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you guys very much.
And good luck this year.
Thank you, I appreciate it. If you guys need anything from me, let me know. See you guys, we play South Vermillion our first game, in Dollar games. I still haven't watched the second half of the Dollar games. We play South. We're having about 20. I played with Castle, because he wasn't there.
We'll be there.
Hey, I'll see you guys.
Thanks for
Thank you
coming.
guys for coming.
Business status quo teacher contracts.
Just our teacher contracts we sent out. I mean, Whiskey doesn't approve one of those. Teachers have all signed it for the most part.
Don't be afraid of the truck. I'm trying to get my foot in the door.
Motion on approving status quo teacher. And we do this because we haven't negotiated.
Yeah, we have an open bargaining yet. Once there's bargaining, we have to decide where that's going. Just have a little based on last year.
Yeah, should we take a motion?
I'll
See you, bud.
I will.
See you.
Motion by Ashley, second by Danny, to approve status quo teacher contracts. All in favor? Hearing. Teacher appreciation grant.
Yeah, but just an update on that. I mean, it's, talking to the principals about it, I'll talk to the union about it. It's, it could be a real culture killer. So, only 20% of your staff get it each year. And, the grant, and the stipends are pretty large. So, I don't know, it's just so much different that you can only have 20% of your teachers get it. What's that going? It's almost going to. I think it could be a really culture. It could be poor for school culture when 1 out of 5 people get it, and it can be up to. And even in that, because there's different levels. I don't have a paper in front of me. There's different levels even on that, to where if you're at this level, you make this type, and if you're at this level, then the principal gives you a little more opportunity. You make this, and if the principal gives you a little more opportunity, you make $7,500. So even within the people you're giving the stipends to, you're going to get, I think, like, why didn't you let me? I mean, you see, dogs, we've talked about this. It's just, I'm not saying we don't want to do it. It's just something I think a lot of schools or corporations are looking at very carefully. I've not talked to the union and discussed about it yet. I definitely want to include them in the conversation too. I'm personally not a big fan of it this year because I don't think it's going to do a lot for climate and culture. I think that's what we're trying to build in our buildings. So I don't know what the right answer is with the teacher appreciation grant.
So before it was based on evaluation level. This year it's based on something else.
It still is, but it's got to be the top of the top, and then it adds some stuff into it. You can only 20% of your entire building staff and corporation staff can be eligible for it each year.
And that's something that, so say Ashley was eligible for it this year, got it, and next year, she does a really bad job, but I do really good, she no longer gets it.
Yeah, it could definitely be performance-based, but then you can even, some school corporations, I think, apply it on a rolling basis to try to be fair, right? That even makes me nervous, like, this 20% is going to get it this year, we're going to move those duties over the next year, but who knows, they might change it 3 years down the road. So, I don't know, you're right, it could be performance-based, but it's going to be a culture killer. It's going to plot teacher against teacher most likely.
So, we could just
not apply for it. So it just depends what we want to do with it. When nothing says we have to take the tag money. Now, again, I haven't talked to the union about it. I'd like to include them in the conversation because it is a big chunk of money, but it's also very sad, as opposed to if you got a highly effective or effective, everybody got something.
Or meddling from the state.
Essentially.
I mean, I definitely see it as a double-edged sword of what you just described, but I also hate to take money out of the hands of teachers that, right, but
So we're not.
if we can give a teacher compensation. But I definitely, I think we definitely talk to it. From my perspective, I think you're right on.
I'll fly on the wall. I forgot about that for a second. Sounds very divisive.
So is there a deadline on this?
Yeah, there is. I don't have. We have till maybe September. So I don't have the deadline.
September 10th.
We have time. What is it?
September 10th.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So.
Slow reading, maybe 8.
Yeah. I can talk to the union. Maybe get back with you guys. I know we have the budget hearing too. We might be able to tag it on exec. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit. So because it doesn't include staff, so it might be something we could talk about in executive session even. So it's one of those things I just don't know what to do with yet. It's you want my honest opinion? Don't put this in the paper. It's the way it's kind of like 21st Century Scholar when the state wanted to cut that without cutting it. What they do, they took the field reps out of it to where they used to visit all the schools. Now they're not visiting the schools, so there's less access. And then you make it, you can't even do anything at the school level. It's just online. So then the people that need those may not know how to go. It's a very popular program. You can't cut it. But if you make access harder and make it more of a pain for people, it cuts itself. So my personal opinion is this is the same thing. The state's tight on money. They want people to opt out of it because of the culture thing. So let's make it to where only 20% can get it. And guess what? Half the corporations want to apply for it, and that's money we don't like to spend. That's my first opinion. But it's a way of cutting the program without cutting the program.
Shall we table this until,
I would move that we table it.
okay,
Can I second that?
so. State, okay. Cafeteria prices for 25-26 school year.
Yeah, and everything's, students are free again this year. Second tray, the elementary second tray, breakfast tray, $3, lunch tray, $4, junior, senior high, breakfast, $3.25, adult breakfast, $3.25, adult lunch is $5.
So what's your pleasure on this?
Motion to approve the cafeteria price for 2025-26 school year.
I'll second.
Who's, so I had his hand, but I heard.
Karen. Karen, sorry.
Okay. Okay, a motion by Danny, a second by Kara. We approve these cafeteria prices for the 25-26 school year. All in favor? Carried. NESC sports passes.
Yeah, we have the, of course, the students and staff get in free again this year. Then the adult passes, if they want to buy a pass, they can buy it for $50.
Pleasure on this.
Make a motion to approve the sport passes.
I second that motion.
So motion by Danny, second by Jerry. The students and staff at NESC will get in free. Adult passes are $50. All in favor? Carried.
Can I add something to that? I just want to say how nice it is. I think that we do that with the students. It is fantastic when we show up at games, and there are students who may not otherwise be there. Money's tight in a lot of places. So I think it's fantastic that we offer that for our students.
It is expanding your right. It's definitely a really good thing.
And when you talk about access to accessible to students, even if you're not an athlete, you can still be active in something. And I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely. Neola policy updates.
So I sent you a small one this time. No, it's massive. There's even a few.
Excuse me? Yeah, there was a bunch of them.
Trying to get us caught up on. I think this will catch us up until the next big batch. There might be there's a few the special updates that came out. I might include next, but there's just like 3 or 4. So it's not.
This is just
This
stating
is the first
read.
Yeah.
Okay. Employment, resignations, and retirements.
Yeah, you want me to read them all together and then do one vote for the, since we don't, I don't think we have anything to earth-shattering on our list tonight, so. Do you want anything individual is what I'm saying?
Do them together.
Okay, so we'll do resignations and retirements. We have Sarah Casper, a North Central High School teacher, resigning effective July 16th. Don Jackson, bus driver, resigning effective August 4th. And Melissa Horton, North Central High School cafeteria, resigning effective July 28th.
Mr. President, I move that we accept the resignations of Sarah Casper, Don Jackson, and Melissa Horton.
Ashley seconds. Okay, motion by Jerry, second by Ashley. We will approve these aforementioned resignations. All in favor? Carried. Certified employment.
Certified employment, we have Michelle Hill, North Central High School English teacher, Alexandra Inman, Northeast North first grade teacher.
Mr. President, I move we accept the employment of Michelle Hill, Alexandra Inman.
Second that motion.
Okay, motion by Jerry, second by Danny to approve these teachers. All in favor? Carried. Non-certified.
Yes, we have Madison Keller, an aide at Northeast North.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve Madison Keller.
Second motion by Danny, second by Ashley to approve this one. All in favor? Carried. Extracurricular.
Yes, we have Darlin Tuttle III, volunteer junior high football basketball coach. Darren Swalls, volunteer junior high football coach. Jonathan Bowman, 6th grade basketball coach. Jared Barrett, 5th grade boys basketball coach. Ryan Gilman, assistant AD. Joe Cooch, assistant AD. J.T. Roberts, volunteer girls golf coach.
Except that last one.
You want to vote that one separate?
I'd pull that one out and vote separate.
Okay, Mr. President, I move we accept the extracurricular employment of Garland Tuttle III, Darren Swalls, Jonathan Bowman, Jared Barrett, Ryan Gilman, Joe Cooch, and J.T. Roberts.
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Jerry, second by Danny. To approve these, all in favor? Carried. Board member comments and concerns?
I think we have a great start to the school year. Our enrollment is up, and that's, I think we're up by a few students.
I think starting out, yeah, definitely more than we projected.
Yes.
So,
more than
we
projected.
were, like I said, we were trending the wrong direction, and I think we're at least, we stopped that bleeding maybe, and we're moving in the right direction. So, yeah, I think it's going to be good.
And I'd like to thank our principals and teachers who are giving their all for our students, and our staff, our support staff.
They work extremely hard for us.
Mr. Roberts?
Kara was talking about not only free to the games. I mean, I think it's very helpful, but also I've received multiple phone calls to start the year out with too. And I think the continuing of the lunches, and books, and stuff like that. Some parents have reached out and said it's wonderful that we're continuing that as well. And I think that I know Dawn sees it firsthand. I'm not in the buildings every day like the others. I think discipline and I think on task is down because we're feeding these kids. And I think the parents, I think anxiety has gone down. Because money is tight as all get out. I mean, I was super excited. I called James and said, "Hey, gas is $2.97 over here." I said, "Get over here and put your car in." So instead of come home 63, he drove down 41 to get it. I mean, we're all looking to save money anyway. So for some kids, I mean, that's the other thing too. The kids see that, and it was funny today when you said that. And the reason I wanted to bring that up was going through the junior high. I went over there. We were dealing with something else. I heard one of the kids say that. "Who is that?" And because I kept saying it last year, I literally stood at the front of the cafeteria. "Hey, good morning." You know, as they come in and stuff. "Hey, breakfast is on me. Have at it." One kid finally looked at him and goes, "Well, that's the guy that gives us a free lunch." And I was like, somebody listen to that. But I do think they appreciate it, and I think it, to me, is a danger because it levels a lot of the playing field.
Well,
If anybody tells you that JT's not bubbly, like I can tell you, like last year, I was like, "We got to go watch the buses come in. I got to see the buses coming in these different schools." So we stand outside, every kid got off. "Good morning, go eat breakfast. Good morning, go eat breakfast. Good morning, go eat breakfast." So yeah, he's the biggest cheerleader of that. So.
Well, and that's why I was just showing Ashley here that one student, if they eat breakfast and lunch every day for 180 days, it's about $1,300 for a family.
That's a
People
lot.
like me, you know, I have 3 kids in school for. I mean, people with multiple kids, you know, you might be looking at $4,000 or $5,000 a year savings.
Well, take that $1,300 and divide by the 9 months. That's a car payment.
Yeah.
I mean, and so when you go on a vehicle payment, and that's.
But I guess that's my question. What do we need to do to make sure that we can continue to secure this for our students? Because there's a lot of families who need
Dornest, I mean, Nancy does a lot on the federal level to make sure we get this. I'm nervous about some of the levels, so we're going to do everything we can. And hopefully we can continue. And I think Nancy, collectively, Nancy's the spearhead of it, to be honest with you, because she's a brilliant at it. But we're going to absolutely work this out because it is a very important thing for families.
Yeah, when Nancy sits through all those, you're aware of them because you're in public education, all those seminars and things, webinars that you guys sit and watch and stuff. She sits through all of them. She takes good notes, and when she says, "Hey, we need to get this filled out," everybody needs to listen to her. Not putting something out unless we need it. But she is, as far as I'm concerned, 99.9% of why that's going to work. She has all that down. I mean, and I hope, like Dusty said, her current I hope that we still can do that. I mean, that's
Family.
It definitely is.
Thank you. I didn't mean to.
Anything else facility-wise?
There's nothing, we've done a lot of the buildings, so we've updated them. I apologize, I'm in shorts, but I was without AC today, so, and then I went to golf, so actually golf was cooler than the other. No, I mean, we're just knocking out the little things when everything comes. I mean, it's the beginning of the year, we had a couple sinks at no one's place, and a few things here or there. Water was shut off this week, so, you know, I got a for a little bit. Got a toilet that was running, so we got to, you know, it's just little things like them out and getting through them as quick as we can. You know, and it's really, I don't think there's anything huge right now that's on the thing because we got the air conditioners knocked out. I think every teacher that affected was very happy. So each 5-ton unit does about 2 or 3 rooms apiece. So you're looking 20-some classrooms over 2 buildings. Were affected, and that makes a big difference.
And I would just like to congratulate Dr. Hitz for approving his. He's way too modest, but he's earned it. And
Very much so.
even though he prefers to be called just Dusty.
Dr.
Just Dusty.
Dr. Dusty.
Dusty Doctor, is what my kids call him.
So anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
We are, and all of our administrators.
So you wrote your thesis?
What?
You wrote your thesis?
Dude, I just defended my dissertation last Wednesday.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
That guy wrote a book.
Yeah, I did.
That's always crazy to me. So does that get published in an academic journal, or does that get?
By me, I'm going to apply and try.
Very awesome.
The middle and published.
It'll get published on USI's site.
Yeah.
It's
Is
all
there
about
clip
AI in
notes
K-12
version?
classrooms.
Is there an
Don't,
audio?
well, dude, I'll give you a copy of it since it's about AI.
See, you know
If
where
the
my
night
heart
you can't
is.
sleep, you just start reading it. I should get you through a few months with that for sure. So, if you have sleep problems, just call me. Hard copy, couple pages here, couple pages there, it'll be out like a light. Which is really like, if you try to see it. So.
Anything else on the board? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adjourn our meeting.
Got a second, all in favor? At 8:11, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Yay!
Who's seconded the motion to adjourn?
And
But when did they make the change to the teacher appreciation grant?
This year.
This year, okay, so, yeah, benevolent Verona administration.